going here.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's who we love. That's who we serve. Today, Wednesday, and it's our Friday. Therefore, by proxy, it's your Friday. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Mountain Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, True Social. We're on LinkedIn. We're just about everywhere you can find us. Check us out on your smart speaker if you want. Just enable it by asking it to play intervisionfm.com, KINV-B, intervisionfm.com, and you'll be all hooked up. You're not going to want to miss today's broadcast. We're going to talk about Trump. Trump time.
Is it running now? Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown. I tell you, this beat is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown saying, stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that crazy lawyer in New York, Alvin Bragg, right?
How dare you?
Yes. Okay. All right.
A funny story about that one is, my name is Alan Colvin. So people will often squish my name together and they'll call me Alvin. And it always gets me mad because, well, now it's really going to make me mad when people start calling me Alvin.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So yesterday, only 20% of us people in Denver voted.
I saw the email and I'm kind of concerned about that, folks. This is our freedom, which is at stake. And, if 1/5 of the Denver populace voted, we're just a microcosm of the rest of the nation. So, folks, it's never been more important to get involved at the local, state, and federal level. And some of that does include voting, of course. And the rest of it does actually include getting our hands dirty and getting in there. You did something like that yourself a while back. You actually ran for the House District number 5, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah, and like in that one, I got the number just sticks in my mind. After all was said and done, I got 4,451 votes, but my opponent got 13,000 votes.
That's interesting.
So it seemed like, and now I've been talking to somebody down at the Capitol, and they said, okay, now we're going to put some money behind you, and we're going to really, get you out there. And I said, well, where were you the first time around? It's like, was that just so like, okay, I'll get you a little taste, see how this is and see. And a friend of mine, the one that was also helping me with this, she says, like, usually people, after they lose the first one, they run away, they disappear. And I said, shoot, no, I'm not a disappearing type.
That's right. Never quit, yield, never give up, never give in, never stop. I mean, seriously, it's necessary if you want to, if you want to succeed, or, even if you don't really want to succeed, just stay above water, because inflation is killing everybody. We try to promote grassroots musicians here at the station, intervisionfm.com. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You've got a little lineup of folks, that you feature. And you've also got a school that you just started. And that deals with the business of what it's like to be a DJ, a podcaster, a broadcaster, things like this. Sort of gets your feet wet. So check us out at intervisionrecords.org, and
Yeah.
we'll
Oh,
see if we can help you. What?
yeah, and help our sponsors too. Christian Brothers, a moving company, located in Englewood, Texas, and Phoenix, and
Mhm.
also let's see, Any Mini Grant, which was through the city and county of Denver, and Denver Arts and Venue Grant, and Dr. Richard Damiano should be on board here pretty soon too, because I think I'm going to be seeing him sometime this month. I've just been
That's-
lazy about setting up my appointment with him.
And Richard Damiano does corneal transplants, and his team
Yeah.
also does cosmetic stuff. So,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it's important to folks. For folks like me, have been blind all my life. Not as important, of course, but I'm sympathetic to the cause, as it were. I do understand because I'm losing my hearing. You can hit us up at paypal.me/IntervisionDenver if you want to help keep the lights on via donations, because we are a nonprofit, and we do try to give a chance to folks that need to give to this kind of thing. There are philanthropic individuals like Melinda Gates, Bill Gates,
Yeah.
folks. You never know.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
saying that they're not donating, but
You know what I just heard this morning, and I forgot the guy's name who did this. Okay, they sort of like closed down coal in Colorado. And
Okay.
this millionaire, I heard it on the Kim Munson show. So if you guys have internet, just go to KLZ radio, 10 o'clock at night Mountain Time, and you could hear was it this morning? Or yeah, I think it was this morning. Yeah, towards the end of the show. So they closed down the coal plants here in Colorado.
Okay.
Well, then a millionaire came and bought the rights of those coals. And as you know, this fake climate change has been put across. And here, this guy was saying that we have so much oil, and the earth is reproducing that oil. And California is starting to have problems with oil just coming up. Like, first thing you know, oh, Jed's a millionaire. Jed said, folks, let's move away from here. If you've seen the Beverly Hillbillies,
Yeah.
the first part of the TV show, when he shoots at the ground, it says the oil bubbles up, and he's saying that's starting to happen in California. And so we're being told climate change, and we got to have electric cars, but we don't have the power grid to do it. But hey, windmills, but the wind doesn't blow all the time. Hey, solar, but the sun goes down at night. But we got to change.
It's interesting because there have been individuals that have actually been jailed in our nice free country of ours for actually putting things like coalification out there. This is the process by which plants or other materials can be super pressurized, and oil can be made out of these materials. So, it's fascinating to me that not only do we have well over 1,000 years worth of reserves under our country, but we also have a scientific process by which we can actually create the fuels we need to sustain ourselves. It does not make any sense to me.
Well, and of course it doesn't, because what it is control.
Yeah.
And if you're a freedom-loving American or a freedom-loving person in general,
right,
you don't want people to control you. I mean, when you're a kid, okay, hey, you're being taught and all that kind of stuff. But when you become an adult, we have the freedom to make our own decisions. And sometimes we're going to make bad decisions. Sometimes we're going to make good decisions.
Yeah.
And God has given us that ability to make those decisions, and He doesn't try to control us either. So
No.
it's all about control.
Yeah, there's the free will going on there. I'm reminded of a scripture where it talks about, when you're a child, you do childish things.
Mm.
And then as you grow up, you transmogrify your whole being and you become an adult and you put away childish things and you
Mm.
start to want to do things that are edifying to other folks, putting others first.
Yeah.
The Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength, all these things that are edifying and that are actually codified in that book of ours, the one that we
Mm.
base our laws and our rule of law on, and which our Constitution of the United States was based on as well. It's interesting because our Constitution came up just the other day when our our 45th president, was indicted. It really shook a lot of folks up, and
Yeah.
folks on both sides, really.
And also, we don't even know what the indictment is for because it's, hey, he says, oh, I'll tell you later. Well, if you take it to this jury and then they say, okay, let's go forth, and then we're going to have you send forth the indictment. They have to know what the indictment is because you have to disclose that to both sides so they can say, okay, I'm going to appeal based on this indictment. But he says, oh, we don't have to. We got to look at that. This I heard this lawyer on Fox News, he's a Fox contributor. His name is Andrew C. McCarthy. He gave the best example. So if you can go Google him, not Google him, but YouTube him on Fox News, he gives the most clearest, because he used to be an attorney for the New York. And so he gives the most clearest examples of why this guy is just playing around. And of course, they put the court date all the way until December 4th, which will lead into January, which they wanted to be a distraction to Trump.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, this is all a farce.
Well, the idea being, as long as there can be this cloud over the election process, there could be things that may transpire that, can knock him out of the race. That's the thinking behind want to have happen. I am minded of a few things. Our dear President 46, who got 81 million votes or whatever it was. This guy, he has difficulty in even stringing together a sentence, much less cover 6 or 8 different cogent points in a little speech. I mean, whereas, our President 45, Donald John Trump, he had a list. He ticked down all the points, everything from nuclear war to the economy, to the crime wave hitting the blue states, to going and going. He was like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah. And this guy, I mean, also they try to hit him with this thing where they said, like, this was to he stopped this information from coming out before the voters could see it, much like Hunter Biden and Twitter, YouTube, YouTube, all those other guys stopped the Hunter Biden information getting out there before the 2020 election. But this all happened after the payments were finished and done with in February. So it had nothing to do with the beginning of the 2016 elections.
This stuff is really interesting because, there would have been somewhere around a 17% bump in the 2020 elections, theoretically, had that Hunter Biden laptop story been able to circulate through the news cycle. But it is interesting. It's really a big distraction from what's really going on. What's really going on?
Yeah,
The world.
yeah. What's going on? Because they have us looking over here, but something else is going on over there,
Right. Right.
and we got to figure out like what. Okay, the news cycle with the lady who dressed up as a guy and wanted to and have an artificial ding dong put on, who went in and killed those 6 people. The news cycle went off of that for a minute,
Yeah, I mean,
and so I hear them now bringing that back up again. The China balloon thing went off the news cycle for a second, and they're bringing that back up again. And so, but there's something else that's bubbling that they're trying to distract us from, and they're doing their very best, and a lot of people are distracted.
it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. Those of us who have eternal salvation, a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be fine. Just spread the good news of the gospel. The end is near, and all this, the sky is falling, and everything's lining up, and all the prophecies are getting fulfilled, and blah blah blah. So do your best to keep spreading the good news of the gospel. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 is the best way to get your salvation today. All that, right?
Mhm.
But I was looking at this the other day, and I was thinking, well, I've drank the Kool-Aid for far too long to change. For one thing. For another thing, I've seen his goodness. I've seen his hand in my life. When there was no hope, he gave me hope. And when there was no, there's a big question out there that says, what in the world do you do when you're hit with adversity where everything seems impossible? And even, the things that should be going on should be going well for you, and you should be blessed because you're doing the right thing. You are cursed. What do you do then? Well, you stay the course. You never give up. You never yield. You never give in. You never stop. You never give in to any of this and surrender. You just keep going. You make your surrender to God, and whatever does happen happens. And for a bit, I was actually really mad at some of the folks in my church because they were like, well, yeah, we can't do anything. There is nothing we can do. And I'm like, oh no, absolutely untrue. We have to be involved at the local, state, federal levels.
Yes,
All
yes,
that.
because we while we're asleep, they got into these lower levels, and now they're corrupting our children. They're putting them back in learning. They are controlling the how we do our energy. They're in all these little positions that we fell asleep on.
That's absolutely right, Johnny. That's absolutely right. Latabo from South Africa, sometimes we get into this American way of thinking or this American mindset where it's just us here in America and it's the rest of the world. And well, you're the rest of the world, pal. And what do you think about this? This is a interesting topic that came up because we started talking about Donald John Trump, and now we're on the God thing. And why is it that Donald John Trump never gives up, and why does he keep going when he's got all this adversity thrown at him?
Yeah. Oh, you gotta unmute yourself.
There you go. Hopefully, maybe we got Zoom problems from other countries.
Oh yeah. Because sometimes maybe like the 5G is not working as well as it should be.
Yeah.
Keep working at it. And then when you come in, just say, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah, I'm here, guys.
There
I'm
you are.
here.
Yeah.
Just- yeah, no, it's not like I'm using 5G. I'm using 4G, guys. I'm
Oh,
using
4G.
network. Yeah.
Oh.
Sounds like
Yeah,
you got
it's 4G. Yeah.
So, Trump's in the news. Give us a world perspective of what you can see going on with that, if you can. without stepping over too many boundaries.
Well, I haven't heard anything yet about Trump, but the one thing that I want to touch base on is uh the other time when you guys were talking about when he was trying to be what you call this, like when he was getting arrested and then all of a sudden he wasn't. So with this one, I'm not too sure about it. So
I mean, yeah, because it's really weird. It's like they couldn't put handcuffs on him or give him much chalk because the jury that was supposed to make this decision didn't really. It's almost like it was like a fake. It's all fake. It's like they didn't make up the mind on these charges because it's almost like this. It's not illegal to put up a clause saying, okay, you want this kind of money from me for you not to talk about this stuff. Here's the money, and people seek out rich people. It's probably the same way. And say, all right, if somebody finds out that you have money, they're going to figure out a way to see that they can get. I know somebody, and I'll tell you this story. This is weird. But there was this girl that she wanted $900 for rent, and she thought this person that would be nameless had the money to give to her. So she puts herself in a position where, this guy's giving her a massage, and then she jumps up, and then she says, as if she's offended, and then she goes out the door, and she goes down to the police station, and she says, this guy just raped me. So then the police come to the door, knock on the door, and then you get in front of the police and they ask you what happened. And in America, it says you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. So when nothing happened and you say nothing, then it's up now to that person to bring the evidence that this so-called rape really happened. Well, how come you didn't go down and get tested or have the rape kit taken out, and so we can check his DNA with your DNA? Just because this person didn't want to pay your $900 rent, which you've had no obligation to pay that, you should get off your ass and pay your own rent. But you see how things could be twisted like that? And if you don't know the law, you could be saying stuff that even though nothing happened, you could say just stupid stuff, saying, "Hey, I was just giving a lady a massage, and then she said I raped her," and so it's weird. It's very vindictive people out there, and that's what's happening with Trump. Is a lot of vindictive people that are in positions of power are using their position in evil ways.
Oh yeah. So which means that they are using it to make, I mean, like being like to envy him, also to be like jealous of him, of what he does. Yeah.
Because if a lot of people love you, maybe because this guy's 49 years old. This Alvin, Brad, he's 49 years old. I have 2 kids. Maybe things are not going on too good at home, right? Because a lot of these guys on the left are not happy people. I don't know what's going on. Bill Clinton, he wasn't happy. He was our president in the 90s. He wasn't too happy, so he was out boinging every girl he could get his hands on. While Hillary Clinton, maybe they had a agreement. Hillary Clinton said, "Hey, you can go out there and get your freak on. Just keep it out of the news."
But interesting that you bring all this stuff up with Bill and Hillary, because one of the big reasons why they decided not to do anything with Bill Clinton's impeachment was figured it would be bad for the fabric of
the United States,
America.
Yeah.
So interesting, the double standard. Now you've got Trump being prosecuted for this at the state level, but it's a federal crime, but the feds didn't want to prosecute it in the first place.
It was a misdemeanor. If that.
And he's trying to make it a federal crime. It's confusing. Now, here's what's interesting. If it's good for the goose, it's going to be good for the gander, potentially. You've got potential Republican DAs in certain cities throughout the nation who could say, Little Rock bring a case, or say somewhere in Texas bring a case, or say, you know,
Mm,
it's interesting because you never want to open this can of worms, this
mm.
Pandora's box, because precedent is set.
Hey,
And
how about this? The judge is against Trump too. I wish they would find some tweets that the judge did and
Screenshot.
shop them, and then bring him in and say, "Well, Judge, do you think you should recuse yourself because look at what you said in this tweet about Donald J. Trump?"
That's right.
Yeah. So I hope she's out there tweeting and doing whatever she was doing, feeling that, hey, I could do this because I'm the judge and I could do and say whatever I want to say, and then that comes back to bite her in the ass. So
But the one thing you have to be careful of when you're using Twitter is because sometimes people can put slur words and they can put bad negativity when it comes to that. Because I mean, usually I hardly go on Twitter, like usually, and Facebook as well. So
right.
so I mean, like even when you check all the time, you get like threads, you get quite a lot of things that are happening on Twitter. Like threads that like I can say long, and you would get that people are also I can say maybe like typing long paragraphs about people and talking about bad people in a bad way. So sometimes, obviously, for that, you have to like I wouldn't say step away, but at least maybe just to be careful, like
Oh
what you
yeah.
are doing on Twitter.
It's powerful. It does take a
Yeah,
bit of fortitude to really not hit
true.
send, or not hit enter, or not hit whatever that is, whether it goes for emails, texts,
Mm, mm,
tweets, any of that. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Latavo. I mean, with with all this technology and stuff, there's a great responsibility to guard what,
true.
but it's just under the course of, you don't yell fire in a crowded theater. It's under the course of, because without freedom of speech, there is no freedom of thought. Without freedom of thought, there is no ability to move forward as a global society, or as a society of nation states, or sovereign nations, or any of these silly governing structures that we've got around ourselves to amuse ourselves,
True.
to really do what we do on a social level as human beings.
Mm. And
You know,
just to add on that, also on Facebook, you have to be careful because you might get people who post stuff about you and you're not even knowing what's going on, So sometimes you need to, just like even just just to be careful with what
yeah,
you want to post on, Even on Twitter, like if you have to tweet something, you have to make sure that when you tweet something, just tweet the whole thing that is positive, not negative about other people.
Oh yeah.
Because when you tweet something that's negative, then it comes back and bite you again. So that's one thing that you said about the jury that who was presiding over the case of Donald J. Trump, right?
yeah,
Right.
So yeah, that's one thing I'm basically referring to, because sometimes when you do something that's illicit or wrongfully, I can say like wrongfully in a bad way on social media, obviously it'll come back and bite you, and people are going to comment about it, and also they're going to weigh you down. Obviously. So
yep.
that's one thing.
Yep. I mean, it's a matter of, I remember this old game, this old text adventure game. It was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or something like this. And you got to run around and play a character within the game. And if you made mistakes in your typing, it would say, what, but it would store these mistakes, right? And then towards the end of the game, it would spit out all this nonsensical BS that you typed all throughout playing the whole game. and
Mhm.
said, "Oh, this came from a wormhole in another universe," and it actually came in and destroyed the universe that you live in, your reality, whatever you
Oh
got
my goodness.
words.
Oh shoot.
So, you
Oh
know,
shoot.
that silly game,
Oh man.
there is a responsibility inherent in
Yeah.
having freedom of speech, but there's also a responsibility to keep it,
Yeah.
protect, and guide our nation, and then obviously other nations, you know, as best as we know how. And all this is the moral structure. All this is Judeo-Christian values. All this is something that has been in place for thousands of years that is being degraded on a national level here in the United States, of course, being a bastion of God this and God that, but all throughout the world. And that's it's important to stand up to that. It's
True. See, that is true.
Hmm. Hey, if you
That's
guys,
true.
if people are just joining us, you're watching Innovision FM. These are just opinions of three blind guys here, just letting you give you some insight on how we think about things. And if you ever want to join us, shoot us an email at info@innovisionfm.com. That's info@innovision. info@innovisionfm.com. I mean, I'm
Right.
saying it so fast. Sometimes I say, like, people say that phone number is so fast. So I say, yeah. And you can also text us. We have a number there, 720-324-7278. You can text us at that number. That's 720-324-7278. And you can send us a text, and who
Can of
knows?
worms. There's going to be a lot of fan. Said you opened up a big can of worms there. There's going to be a lot of fan mail now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So, but we got it there in the subject then, so people can know, Texas here and all that kind of stuff. So, and we want to hear your opinions. You can leave your comments in the comment line and all that kind of stuff. Hey, let's go back to that. I guess the front runners is Kelly and Mike. And I thought it was like, I was gonna say, oh, he's a Johnson, but he's a Johnston. Right?
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not a Johnson, it's a Johnston.
Johnson.
And the guy that I voted for, he came in fourth.
well, fourth. Well,
Yeah.
better luck next time.
Yeah, so these guys are going to do the runoff June the 6th. It's going to be a runoff. So all of them going to be wooing those people that might have voted for, the other 17 people, or no, the other 15 people. So they're going to try to woo those people. But have you ever had, like, at level in your country, it was only 20% participation here in Denver, Colorado. 20%.
Wait, like 20% of like what? If you can elaborate, because I saw that on my email. But I saw that I saw it on my email, so that's why I wanted to understand when it comes to that.
20% voted.
Yeah, it's like,
voting.
yeah. So
I can say it does happen, but well, I don't want to mention any political organizations and all that, but it does happen because
is the voter turnout better in some of your provinces?
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends because usually when they like, I can say that when it comes to our local elections, like say we have to, like, as youth, we have to like come out in numbers, but sometimes people they don't feel like voting because of other things that are happening, like
I see.
But I was at the grocery store and I was checking out. I said, did anybody vote here yet? And I said, oh yeah, I just remembered that. And I'm thinking like, oh man. So, if I hadn't reminded, I don't know, they would have went home and said, it's something I wanted to do today. And then, they go to bed and say, oh yeah, I was supposed to vote today. It was just wild. And this is the guy's going to control what's going on in Colorado, because the guy that we have in now, after 12 years, our city is terrible.
Yeah. Wow. So isn't it the governor or the mayor of Colorado?
Mayor. He's the mayor.
The mayor.
Yeah, of Denver. Denver. It's like a city in Colorado. Is this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Interesting
I
because
just,
it's
yeah, because
being part of different communities in the northern Colorado area and the southern Colorado area over the last 12 years. I've gotten to see literally uh, homeless camps spread and spring up from nothing. I mean, there might be a couple of homeless people on a corner.
wow.
They claim a corner, but now there are literal camps where, as a blind person, if you don't know that they're there and you don't know to walk around them, you'll walk right
Yeah.
through the large
That's true.
homeless
It
folks.
is true.
Oh yeah.
It,
And I guess the crime is not bad enough, because I guess we had one guy who was really radical on crime, and he did this commercial that was very controversial, and then while they were debating, they said, "Well, you showed too many black people." Well, he went down, and they weren't there. How could he show them? so they really pouted on him when his commercial came out, and it was too many black people. Usually they said there's not enough black people on TV. No, there's too many. So I guess it just depends on what light. And then so that knocked him down, because well, he's too radical. He's but I don't think Denver is hurting enough to say, okay, we need somebody who's strong on crime, and we got a district attorney that was put in there by George Soros, a millionaire who's kind of corrupted the legal system, where he's downgrading felonies to misdemeanors, just like this guy, the Alvin guy in New York, Alvin Brad.
he's going first.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's
goodness.
downloading felonies to misdemeanors too, and people are getting attacked and everything else in New York.
My
And
goodness.
they haven't had enough. And then in Chicago, they just rejected this guy that was law and order. He was promoted by the police coalition and they got this guy who was on the scoreboard. And their school system, 60% of the students can't read and write when they leave school, but they put him in office.
Wow.
So if I can interject there, like, okay, as I'm hearing you guys are talking about like the crime in America, is usually like, especially it happens with the shootings, like the recent shootings that we've been hearing, like about school shootings and all that stuff. Because sometimes it can be devastating to the world as well, because like just checking on like something that is like recently happening, even when you talk about earthquakes, then it startles the world, right? Even like, say for example, if something happens to South Africa, then obviously the USA will come in and rescue South Africa. So it's something that obviously you would have to, you'd have to intervene, right? So it's something that you have to intervene, and you have to like do something that is, like humanly, like, or something like with humidity and all that stuff, like humanitarian aid and all that stuff. But sometimes, obviously, like when it comes to crime, fighting crime, sometimes it can be,
Hey, this is not on our list, but I heard about something. There's some kind of virus that's supposedly somewhere in Africa that they're saying it could be, they're trying to help people and stuff like that. And pretty much, if Americans politicians said they're going to help you, I would run the other way, because.
Well, when it comes to that virus, I'm not sure about it, but the only one that I know is malaria, because malaria is just something that obviously people are scared of, especially when it comes to what you call like North Africa, that's where obviously it's like mostly prominent. But here in the South, it's not that much prominent, because like when I check on the internet, sometimes obviously we don't talk about those type of stuff, but always it happens in the north and in the western side of Africa. So that's one thing I know for sure. But sometimes I remember when was it? Back in 2020, when COVID-19 hit, obviously did the worst thing, obviously, because they didn't have the vaccine and all that kind of stuff. And but now when it comes to other viruses, it's more it's more on you per se, as a person who lives in the country, to help the people to live better, because like when it comes to what you call WHO, obviously they would also help it. They will also help there, when it
Mm.
comes to that. But in some cases, sometimes it can be WHO only who helps there, but also the country itself, they need to also stand up and say, no, enough is enough. And also to think about it as a collective, with other countries, how will they what you call maneuver this virus, and also to get a vaccine for it, So
Yeah.
it's
But
something that people have to think about.
But viruses have been around. I mean, there's so many little particles living on your skin we don't see, and all that kind of stuff. And so
True.
it's here, and it's
Mm.
almost like we just have to be able to live in unity with these living
Yeah.
creatures that we can't see. And it's almost like when these governments gets involved, it's almost they always kind of manipulate us
Mhm.
in giving up our rights, our freedom, and our rights. And like right here in Colorado,
Mhm.
the climate change, they said, get rid of all the coal, get rid of all coal. And so then they got rid of a lot of the coal. And then
Yeah.
this millionaire went and bought all
Mhm.
those places. So now they can double back and say, oh, coal is okay. But now the millionaire, he owns it all. So now he can control what happens with it and make money at the same time.
Wow.
So it's like a catch-22.
Interesting,
So
because when you're in that place, you control the supply and the demand. You know what I
true.
mean? So,
Yeah, true. Like when it comes to obviously climate change, it affects everything. Like let's say, for example, your electricity supply, your climate as well. Like even here, I mean, like since we've been what do you call this? Since we have been suffering from load shedding itself, obviously it has been climatized by by um what do you call this, climate change, right?
Mm.
Even it's been like cold, like it's been chilly like since the start of this month, since last week. And you would understand why, because sometimes you would see that sometimes in summer it could be hot. Then you could see that like the temperature itself could soar around about like 33, 34 degrees, even 35 degrees sometimes. But in other provinces it could soar to like 38 or 40 degrees. Sometimes it can be like that, or 42 degrees. And just to understand why is it like that, and sometimes obviously to be cold, you know, it's more like beyond freezing, like the way you guys are experiencing. Actually, you were experiencing, because now I know you are in spring right now. So
Mm.
when it comes to us, because now we are on autumn, and then in the next 2 months we will be in the winter time, and obviously it would be worse. And it's going to be a tough thing, because obviously, you know, climate change, it affects us all. It doesn't affect one country at a time. It affects us all.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to your weather changing patterns, your electricity supply, like your farming, everything. It affects everything.
Yeah. But when they start doing silly things and saying like windmills is the answer, but the wind doesn't blow all the time. Or what was it? Or solar panels, but the sun doesn't shine all the time. It's almost like, and then they say that, oh, we don't have enough oil, but we find out that the earth is creating oil within itself. And so they're telling all these lies, and it's almost like, Pinocchio, sit down and shut up, because it's only these lies, because they're trying to find a way to make money off of you and me, and it's like it's just getting crazy. But
It
anyway,
is getting crazy. It is getting crazy, because like when you check, when you extract that oil underground, obviously, like it could cost you money, like especially when when, let's say, if you're a big company, obviously you want to extract oil, then obviously you will what can I say, like you will like spend a lot of money, and obviously it will lead to irregular expenditure sometimes when you
yeah.
don't even you don't even what you call, like, if you don't even like if you're not careful with your expenses
No,
as
yeah.
as a company,
Yeah.
because I mean I've been like seeing many like articles coming from I don't know if you guys know this organization called Greenpeace,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
because
We
I've
were,
Yeah.
been, yeah. So I've been like reading some of the stuff from them, because I mean, like, talking about climate change, talking about, the electricity crisis that's happening here in South Africa, and everything that's happening around the world, not just here in Africa only. But in
Yeah.
terms of, obviously, it's something that we need to stand up as people, just to, to assist each other, when it
hmm,
comes to that.
yeah.
We're joined by Latabo, and he is a DJ, an aspiring DJ on Intervision FM.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
you're
what do you,
doing
yeah, what do you have planned for today or tomorrow? Really,
Uh,
it'll air tomorrow.
for today, I'm not sure, because I haven't thought much, but for today, I don't know, but I'm just thinking what I'm going to do or what I'm going to play.
Talk about and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes the network can be a bit
Oh
chunky
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, because even last week when I heard my show, it was like coming and then sometimes like cutting and all that stuff. But I don't know, but I will see what I will do this week or tonight, actually. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that I have to plan and see what I'm going to do.
Yeah, okay. Well, stay tuned, everybody, and give people, like, if they want to request like some ideals and stuff like that, or who knows? I mean, do you have the capability of like bringing someone's voice in? If they call you and say, hey,
Uh,
and want to have a conversation.
so
Oh
if they
man.
want to do that, obviously they can do it via Zoom. Maybe I might schedule a call or something like that today, or I can
Hmm.
do a Zoom call, not a Zoom call, sorry. What you call a Teams call. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible, but I'll
Hmm.
see. And yeah, I guess
Yeah.
if anyone wants to join in today, then obviously I can do that, and we will see what we can do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All
Yeah.
right. And so the days are Friday. So we want people to go. And it's Easter weekend. Oh, no.
that?
Well, forgive me.
Yes.
Okay. It's Resurrection week.
Resurrection
Mm.
Sunday.
Yes. And so we want to wish everybody and I'm reading the book of John right now. And man, just reading through that, you can see how like the confrontation between the Pharisees and the scribes and how they wanted to stay in power, and they said, hey, if everybody goes over to Jesus, the Romans are going to come and take our power away. Well, how can you guys can't share the power, but it's like,
True.
so it's just reading this over and it just refreshing my mind of like how they were thinking back then and how jealousy, gets the best of you.
Becomes relevant or irrelevant today.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like people haven't really changed that much.
Yeah.
And then like Judas, when the lady after Jesus had raised Lazarus, Martha's brother, or I think it was Mary or Martha's brother, she poured out this perfume on us and washed his feet with his perfume. And then Judas Iscariot, who's going to betray him, he says, hey, that could have been traded for money to give to the poor. But he didn't really want to give money to the poor. He wanted more money in the money bag because he was in control of that, because he took money out of the money bag at random to supply his party needs.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So it's like we call it now embezzlement.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to have a great Resurrection Day, and if you have any embezzlers in your household, do the Three Stooges thing and get them back on the right track. Oh man.
I just want to make an announcement
Oh,
before
okay.
we part about the show. So yeah, if anyone want to listen to representing PTA, obviously that's happening tonight at 8 p.m. South African time. And if
So
you want
it's
to
12 noon Denver time.
yeah, 12 noon, 12 noon Colorado. obviously. So, so I just want to say that if you want to join in, guys, you can also. I'm going to schedule a Zoom call for everybody who wants to join in, including yourself, Johnny, and Ellen.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to do that now after this, and then I will see if I can manage to do that.
Hey,
And
sounds good.
yeah, so yeah, and I'm hoping that everything will go well, you know.
Oh yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yeah.
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 All right, ladies and gentlemen. I say I'm here on Facebook. I signed in for Facebook to see if
Oh.
anybody was there in the Innovision FM room. So I'm gonna jump out of there because I was sort of like looking at that, which I didn't know I could do that until because I kept seeing it pop up and I said, well, let me sign in. So yeah, I could see the chat here and I was kind of thinking, oh, okay, I could see. So next time, maybe if you guys go to the Innovision FM in the Innovision Records page, we could do some live commentary back and forth. Which
Got as well on YouTube, got all these others. Check us out, folks. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. God bless everybody.
All right, see you guys.
See you next week.